look at the back. How perfect of an ad is this for the back of Youngblood number 10? But Chapel is a significant character because he gets introduced, and by issue 2 of Youngblood, he's not even in this issue. And welcome back, my AKAPADers. Peter A. DeLuca here, and known throughout Philadelphia, PA, Europe, and the vast multiverse as well, and the extreme universe as your eclectic one. How is everyone doing? Welcome back. I love having you guys, and you know what I love doing? I love hitting that drawing table with all of you because I really feel like things get explored and we get into detail and we open up channels of thought with a lot of these 90s comics that everybody loves to crap on. I even today, and I've been prepping the video for Joe Quesada's Event Comics Ash. Joe Quesada, Jim Palomati. I saw a Facebook post today where the person said, this story is incomprehensible. And then it's like, well, like, yes it is. There's no story that's incomprehensible. Every story can be explained, and I just feel like when there's like a preconceived notion when people enter the room when it comes to 90s comics. We shatter the grid when it comes to that train of thought on this channel, and we're attacking Rob Liefeld's Youngblood today. We're jumping right on it. We are like a bunch of horny bears, and we're going for Goldilocks. I'm not even sure what type of reference that is. So, let me extrapolate, okay? We got 2 trade paperbacks. We have Youngblood. We have an issue of Youngblood. And we got some, like, surrounding ideas about what flows through these 2 trade paperbacks. I'm going to be showing off Youngblood issue 2. That doesn't have a appearance of Chapel. The character we're focusing on is Chapel. At one point, because of Alan Moore's work, I considered Supreme to be Rob Liefeld's greatest contribution. I know so many of you like to say Deadpool and this and that, but to me, Deadpool is plastic, vanilla, and one note, and kind of like one and done. This is also why we can, it's okay if we get a Deadpool movie like every 3, 4, 5, 6. It's okay. We don't need like a Deadpool movie every other year. It would just drive us insane. So it used to be Supreme, and it was this. It's like I would explain it in a way where Supreme was a better version of Superman than we got with DC at the time, and what Alan Moore was doing through Maximum Press and Awesome Entertainment, or Awesome Comics, 2 Liefeld imprints, by the way. It's masterful, and it still is. Like, I don't want to ever take anything away from that Alan Moore Supreme run. There is a reason why all of those right now are spiking in the aftermarket, and rightfully so. This is one of the few times where I'm seeing activity with a 90s back issue on the aftermarket with good explanation behind it, or good motivation behind it. But Chapel actually has like a through line to an end. We actually see the end of Chapel, and this is during you want to say it's during a reconstruction period of Youngblood called Baptism of Fire. That's right, folks. We have those issues. We're going to be getting into it. And Baptism of Fire spends a good amount of time between 2 monthly books, Youngblood and Team Youngblood. And these 2 monthly books character build the entire Youngblood universe. Like, every single character gets built upon. It's masterful. It's there. And I long argued that of all of the, like, Image universe, we'll say like the early Image or the Image founders universe, of all of their crossovers and intercompany crossovers, Rob Liefeld with Baptism of Fire, which was essentially crossover Youngblood story, and then we get Extreme Apocalypse, or I'm sorry, Extreme Sacrifice. And Extreme Sacrifice is the universe-wide crossover that is just amazing. It really is. And those two crossovers built on top of one another, we do a lot for Wildstorm Wednesdays. And Wildstorm has two very tough to read, tough to go through company-wide crossovers, Wildstorm Rising and Fire from Heaven. Quiz me on this stuff. Quiz me on this stuff anytime, people. And previously on this channel, we did the Top Cow Marvel Universe, or Top Cow Silver Surfer Mephisto meets the Top Cow Universe crossover, and it is a Top Cow wide crossover. It incorporates all of their properties at the time, called Devil's Reign. Again, equally challenged. Wildstorm Rising and Devil's Reign, just on a perception of flow, like issue to issue, very similar. But Rob Liefeld's work here, and him doing what he's doing as a publisher, and he's coming in and he's drawing a lot of these characters and he's designing them and upgrading them. It is there was a reason why these books sold as well as they did at the time, because when we get into what the fate of Chapel is and where they arc that character, and then really having a just this magnificent, perfect ending where Chapel takes everything over, it's amazing. Then what do you do after that, right? Like we hit this super insane high peak with a character, and what do you do? And this is something that we see time and time again in comics. Something very similar happened with Marvel comic books and the Onslaught crossover, which was the Avengers and the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, the entire company crossover for Onslaught. And Onslaught is such a powerful, such a fun villain. Really great concept of combining the psyches of Xavier and Magneto and making that into this really unstoppable juggernaut. Pun intended there, kind of. Not really. That's not really a pun. But what you do after Onslaught, and this kind of goes back to one of these rules of thought when it comes to editor-in-chief positions. The editor-in-chief needs to go into his production staff and reiterate and put down a couple precepts, like rules, like things that are carved into stone, never to be broken. And one of those should be wherever the character is within the story, they return back to normal. Like we can go like full circle, but every character should be full circle by the time we're done with their arc, story, crossover, or whatever. What happened post Watchmen and post Dark Knight Returns, the Image era introduced this idea because we view Jim Lee as drastically changing X-Men, and Rob Liefeld as drastically changing New Mutants, Tom McFarlane drastically changing Spider-Man. This idea permeated through the younger talent of the industry to where you could just change things, like change it and shock people. It was kind of like the shock and awe editorial approach, and it was hard to contain. And DC reverted to that. Everything that they did with the Flash, Green Lantern, Superman, Batman, and even Wonder Woman. Aquaman got the harpoon arm. It took them decades to correct that, by the way, guys. But I do like the Peter David Aquaman run. I has a through line. Come at me, bros. I like Kyle Rayner. I love the Kyle, graphic artist, Green Lantern. And we get that in early constructed universes. We get that with Valiant, we get that with Malibu, and we get that with the Image Comics universe, by company and by studio. Too much changes in everything I'm about to show you. Does it change for the good? Does it change for the better? Or does it change perfectly if we drop the hammer right then and there and we say, this is our story? I take this approach with a lot of items, with a lot of things. I'm perfectly okay with dropping something or moving on from something when, for example, like a TV series starts to fall off. I'm happy to say like House of Cards is perfect for 3 seasons. I don't ever need to rewatch or go back to those seasons where it really literally did jump the shark. And time again, we get people who waste time and waste breath making arguments for the bad. I'd rather revel in the greatness and when things are good, because I feel like there's more perspective to gain from that, because we're dealing with a monthly continuity with a lot of these books, and always we should. And it's great to be able to pick out a sweet spot and say, we're done with this. It's no different if you love the Kobe and Shaq and Phil Jackson Lakers and Robert Horry. What's he got? 9 rings? Anyway. But when when we get rid of Phil Jackson from the Lakers and Shaq and Kobe, we can move on with our lives, because maybe that was our team. And it's okay. We don't have to stay dedicated to the Lakers for the rest of our existence. Now, in Philly, you can't do that with the Phils or the Eagles. That you just can't do it. I mean, I guess if the Phils start tanking, you can move on from the Phils, but you can never disparage the Eagles. You always have to be an Eagles fan. Trust me, your life's a lot easier. So there's some social pressure for that. But no, and baptism of fire going into this extreme crossover where we introduce Crypt. We give Crypt a perfect counter, which turns out to be Prophet. Really awesome stuff. And in the backstory, we have this amazing arc with Chapel and Spawn. And all of these things that shouldn't work come together. And here's the crazy thing. Everything we're about to look at is entertaining. It's entertaining because we're reading comics. Comics need to be entertaining. So let's be entertained. Guys, let's hit that drawing table. Cheers to you. Let's go. AKA Powders, welcome back to the drawing table. It is good to have you here. Going to do another shotgun blast, maybe like an Uzi spray, maybe a grenade down the foxhole, hoping to take out that machine gunner in that pillbox. Rob Liefeld's Chapel. So we're going in 2 directions with Mr. Liefeld on this channel. We're going to be discussing him and his god-awful takes on his Robservations podcast, the way that Rob Liefeld is systematically trying to rewrite his own history and desperately trying to become a comic book influencer. For what means, I do not know, because the comic book industry, as of new books, new excitement, new characters, new sales, is dead on arrival. I got my own history with the dude, but we talk comic book, we talk history here. We talk things that happen in the printed page, so I'm unbiased. Who's Chapel? Well, Chapel, when Chapel premiered in Youngblood issue 1, we're at issue 2 here, also the first appearance of Shadowhawk. Here's the amazing thing. When we flip through Youngblood issue 2, okay, we don't get any Chapel. There's no Chapel in Youngblood issue 2. We get Sentinel, we get Riptide, we get Cougar, or, is that Cougar? No. Combat. That is Combat. I said Cougar, Prophet, Brahma, right? We get everyone. So we mostly get the Youngblood away team. Chapel is the Youngblood home team. But we get the Berserkers. Yeah, like, again, always new characters, always new teams with everyone. Everyone that published through Image at this time, really except for Sam Keith and Dale Keown. Everyone did nothing but teams. It was like the best way to introduce 7 characters in a single page, like we have here. So the story for Chapel really picks up in the pages of Youngblood, maybe like 2 years later. And we get this. We get issue 10. That is 1994. Issue 2, by the way, guys, is 92. Alright, so Liefeld's maybe doing 1 issue every other month-ish, okay? But we get Chapel here with Spawn, and they're facing off. And during all of this, like look at the way Rob Liefeld just sells the Spawn cape. And then while Chapel's facing off with Spawn, we get Team Youngblood with the newly returned Link from the early years. You know, we get them raiding a base. A wonderful Rob Liefeld trope. Here's Black Rock here. Masada here just zaps his brain. But then we're back with the face-off. So what exactly is the face-off? What leads into it? Well, this is what it's Youngblood Baptism of Fire. That's what this trade's called. So this was of a time where, you know, things getting collected it wasn't in vogue. This is Youngblood 8, I believe. This is what some consider to be Liefeld's greatest work. Then we get Chap Yap, and for some reason Chap Yap gets way more credit than deserved, because if we look at the studio status quo here, and then we flip to Chappy Yap, yeah, okay. But that doesn't mean Chap Yap isn't a lead player. He can throw down the lead, and he's regular, and he's monthly, and he's reliable. But then again, we get more of the Rob Liefeld. We get Vogue premiering her new armor. Combat here premiering his new armor. So Combat goes all gold. Vogue goes all brown. Badrock making some of he's on Letterman here, making some of his late night appearances. Great bit here. This chick pulls a gun. She's like his stalker. She's like, "I love you, Badrock," and he bangs the floor and shoots her up into the air and catches her on live TV and then plucks her asleep. His agent is loving it. These are the things where we never got into this well enough in any iteration of Youngblood. We never got the intersection of Youngblood being public, having a PR arm, public relations, their role with the government, any of that. It's always been a struggle. But keep in mind, Youngblood is an idea of public superheroes that interface with the government. And now we have Graves. So Graves here, he's our like new bad guy. He's our mole. He's basically a sleeper cell for hell. And we get this awesome Attack on the White House premiering Night Saber, Die Hard 2. And we get some great stuff from Liefeld and crew, meaning the inking, the coloring. Look at the Kiki over here with the purple background. Really good stuff. Guys, give me 1 second here. AKAPADers, I apologize. We had a phone call there. Morning phone calls while we're trying to record comic book walkthroughs pisses off Crypt, and it pisses us off. What happens in Baptism of Fire is we get a expansion. We get every single character really becomes bigger. Voodoo becomes bigger. Dutch becomes bigger. Masada becomes bigger. Sentinel becomes bigger. They become bigger because we are building everything out. And this is a lot of what the criticisms were at the time. The characters didn't have plot, not enough characterization, not enough this, not enough that. What they're comparing everything to during this time is the Chris Claremont X-Men run. It has to be said that there's 100 plot threads that Claremont didn't complete with his X-Men run. He just didn't, okay? And a lot of them, he never was. We get new villains, color-coordinated villains. Let's go. We have somewhat of a villain problem throughout early Image. And guys, give me 1 second. Let's raise this up just a tad. We have an early villain problem, but Liefeld's pretty good with his villains. Crypt here is one of them. McFarlane's good with his villains, and that's about it. All the other early Image villains at this time need a little bit of help. But yeah, some of these guys have a background with Dutch. Dutch jumps into the action. We have face-offs or matchups. The Sabretooth analog versus, I believe that's Wildclaw. I believe that's his name. Is his name Wildclaw? Did we say? Oh, we don't say. But yeah. And I believe this is not Cyberdata. These guys are Cybernet. But again, a lot of intersecting ideas. The one part of all of Youngblood that never worked, it's like the same part that doesn't work with the Justice League, with the Dark Knight. You know, you can't have the Dark Knight in Justice League because he needs to be superpowered. Whenever they reboot anything, they should give the Dark Knight superpowers. I'm sorry, but if he's going to be in the Justice League, he cannot plan everything. There's a lot of disconnects when it comes to what we see in comics. We mentioned something similar to with Wildstorm. The Demonite side of the Wildstorm universe, the secret alien invasion side, doesn't quite work with everything at the time that Stormwatch has to offer. And for Mr. Liefeld and crew here, it's the space alien stuff. Combat and Photon, who are our space boys, they just don't work. They just don't. Great issue here where Shaft has a nightmare about overeating. Really good stuff. But yeah, we get Badrock. We get a naked troll. And we get a classic showdown with Badrock and Overkill from Comic Book Greats, from the VHS series, created by Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane. Rob Liefeld later was to call him, I think, Overt Kill, and they added the T here or something. I'm sure that was a trademark issue. But we, through Baptism of Fire, we completely build everything up. And then we get the big teaser here. Chapel. Chapel's coming. Next issue, Spawn. Enough said. So that next issue is issue 10. And issue 10 is going to lead right into Extreme Sacrifice. And the reason why Chapel is so unique, we can really say the greatest Rob Liefeld work from a character is Alan Moore writing Supreme. But Alan Moore writing Supreme, he's writing Superman. And we get there's been a good Prophet run, a good Glory run. But when it comes to Liefeld's own characters in their own universe, with 2 company-wide crossovers, okay? Well, this is more of a Youngblood-wide crossover, and then this is company-wide. We lead into Extreme Sacrifice. When we get into Extreme Sacrifice, this is fantastic. The moment comes where the past for Spawn meets the future of Chapel. And Chapel, I mean, I love these pages so much. They're so simple and perfect. But yeah, a page I never quite liked, because to me it's not it's not bloody enough. But Chapel blows off his head. He sends himself to hell. Spawn kind of knows what's happening, and he becomes. Let's get into it. He becomes Lord Chapel. Okay, and we have some observations right here. So he teases his future podcast that he'll rewrite his own history on. And when we get to Lord Chapel, this needs to become it needs to become the end of Spawn. And there really should be this tangent, right? Again, maybe another idea for bootleg comic. The Spawn story should end with Chapel's suicide. Because Spawn's an agent of hell, and Chapel takes over hell. That's where this character goes. This is why Chapel's the greatest of all of these creations, because Chapel in this universe here, in this universe, Chapel, he takes it over, and he has this crazy arc. So that arc kind of shows up in Extreme Sacrifice. And then finally we're doing crypt content. And look, guys, look how loved and destroyed these are. Look, right? This is what we want from comics. But I always like this double spread here. I even like this. I think that works so well on the back. But, let's open Youngblood, Extreme Sacrifice,
part 0 of 8, Blood Strike file, and we get this prophecy. We get kind of like the 4 horsemen, the rise of hell. As the prophecy unfolds, we get this other individual that beheads Chapel. We get some Violator looking, right? The Violators are the 7 layers of hell, so to speak. The 8 Violator brothers, the Vindicator and so forth. But we kind of get this prophecy, and someone is going to confront Lord Chapel and behead him and take over hell. Not if Crypt has anything to say about it. So we get back into Graves. We get this kind of like gathering of the boys. But it kicks into high gear. We go into hell. Crypt is sent on his mission. And his first... This is awesome. Because Crypt's first contest is against Supreme. And he completely takes out Supreme. Again, keep in mind, this is all Chapel's doing. So Crypt gets he gets his like souvenirs. Like, so at this point in Supreme history, he has Thor's hammer. But yeah, he impales him with the end with the pole of a American flag, by the way. So we get all that. Okay. He breaks. I mean, this is awesome. Completely shatters Supreme's ribcage, breaks him over his knee. We see the spinal column here. It's all blood. This is what we want. Then he tosses him over, and then we kind of get this, a little bit of Spawn. And this might be the last time we see Spawn in the Image universe. But nothing quite happens there. And then, we go into Bloodstrike. So the formula's like, it moves at a good clip. It's pretty simple. We get into Bloodstrike. Bloodstrike leads into Brigade. Brigades, and I love this Brigade team here. Great artwork too by Manny Clark. He just kills KO. The other Brigade members are in stasis. He goes after Thermal, kills Thermal, guts her like a pig. Yeah, and he goes after Cold Snap, and like I said, look how good Manny Clark was. Yeah. And then we're moving on. So he like marches through the Extreme universe, encounters the new men, and then we're back with Team Youngblood. Look, everyone gathers through Exit's portal. Great name for a portal character. And everyone gathers with the help of Grave and the alien guy, Combat, because he's an alien. So it's just funny where, like, you have these things that affect Earth, and then you just have Combat and Photon just like floating around being aliens, knowing of like other forms of life and stuff. It just makes the believability of it drop a little. Just drop. But we have hey, Shaft is reunited with his father, Bravado. Crypt crashes in. We're not sure how Crypt crashes in. So he crashes because we see the glass, but we all know where his Crypt come from, because here it looks like they're in like a sealed room. But anyway, so Crypt crashes in. He goes up against Link, and yeah, we get this company-wide fight, Crypt versus everyone. Crypt kind of ruptures Sentinel 2's armor. Exit here is able to save everyone by opening up a portal. He sucks everything in. And then we get... So, Crypt defeats... Crypt and Chapel, by the way. Because, remember, Crypt is powered by hell. Everyone's taken out. So, Crypt wins. Okay? He takes out the entire universe. We get some nice... This is Sentinel 2, right? I always feel like this was miscolored. This should be more red. They kind of botched that. I might have to double check. But yeah, we get Stephen Platt, and it's Prophet versus Crypt. This is what we wanted, because Stephen Platt co-created Crypt, and Rob Liefeld doesn't even talk about this anymore. I don't know why. But they fight, and we find out that Crypt is a clone of Prophet. This was, oh my god. This was significant. This was such a good read at the time. And then we get the rise of Lord Chapel. Lord Chapel comes in. He's not defeated. Only Crypt is defeated. And then we get the guy from the New Men, going back to the prophecy, because we got to change it up a little, right? See, he's got the crystal in the forehead, kind of psychic and powerful. Well, here we go. The New Men guy that we never ever cared about goes head to head with Lord Chapel and Graves. And here we go. Demon versus demon. Because if you guys didn't follow, see, Graves becomes the demon. And it's like, yeah, they go at it. Chapel wins. And we kind of, fade into another existence, we'll call it. And then through a portal, Supreme comes back better than ever. Which is great. He chest bumps a giant demon Lord Chapel. Our Savior comes back. The Lord Graves, Supreme, and our White Savior defeat Chapel. Graves is like, ugh. We have he reverse back. He kind of fades into the universe. Supreme was knocked into another world. Prophet moves on. Bloodstrike kind of merges a little bit with Brigade. We get the New Men. The New Men continue. They evolve, right? Because they lost their leader. Like, for example, Exit becomes like Dark Exit. Really good stuff. Chris Bruce drew this later. Yeah. Some revelations, I believe they say here, right? We're going to reevaluate Young Blood. Shaft has a couple words with his father, Bravado, and his father wisps away and disappears. And we're done with Extreme Sacrifice. So, again, Chapel he's our character running all of this. He's the reason. And I look, guys, side note, look at the back. How perfect of an ad is this for the back of Youngblood number 10? But Chapel is a significant character because he gets introduced, and by issue 2 of Youngblood, he's not even in this issue. And then what they do with him, it's extraordinary. And Extreme Sacrifice is one of the best company-wide crossovers of this time. Youngblood Baptism of Fire is one of the best setups of all time, or during this time. And when you have two interconnecting teams and you introduce the spawn element at the end and you character build for, like, look, guys, that's like a year's worth of character building. And then you spend the next year doing this. Guys, they will crap on these books because they never read them, but they are fun reads. And at the time, the revelation that Crypt was essentially Prophet was more mind-blowing than Strife being a clone of Cable. It's great stuff, everyone. It really is. Shotgun Blast. These have been floating around, and I just wanted to talk about them. But we're going to do further analysis on the entire Extreme universe. Extreme. And then we'll later do Maximum Press.
Drop. Go, Die Hard. Chapel. Vogue and Shaft. Bad Rock. Riptide and Sentinel.
Let's make some waves!
Well, gotta check those air brakes.
Troll, where are you going?
Take it back!
Let's rock! Going
welcome. Heads up!
Thanks.
Die Hard, hurry up! Hey! Knock it off!